Hello and welcome to Morningstar. I'm Sheridan and today I'm joined by Nick Sheridan. He's the fund manager of the Henderson Euroland Horizon Fund. Nick, hello.
Hello, good morning.
So there's been a sharp style rotation in the market since the last summer. Do you think that's something towards value investing? And do you think that's something that's sustainable going forward?
I think the sharp change in the market has been brought about by the expectation that GDP progression is going to be seen this year and over the next 18 months, 2 years. That's a reaction to politics around the world, including President Trump and his inflationary expectations. I think value investing works at all times, but I think what you've seen is a deep value rally because deep value stocks are very dependent upon GDP progression to actually move their profits forward. So as long as you think that GDP is going to move forward, then this rally is probably sustainable.
Mm-hmm. And do you still see a value there? Do you find more opportunities in this environment?
Really good question. As I say, I think as a value manager, you can be one of two types of value manager. You can either be very much Benjamin Graham type value, in which case you're very dependent upon price to book and assets, or you can be more towards Warren Buffett and the sustainability of earnings and the mispricing of those earnings by the market. I think that the Warren Buffett method of value investing never went away. I think that the Benjamin Graham method of value investing, dependent upon assets, etc., as I say, is very dependent on GDP progression. Normally happens when you get foreclosures from banks taking supply-demand back into balance. Hasn't happened because the cycle's been very, very low. But if you think GDP is going to move forward, then these are the type of stocks that are more geared towards profit recovery. So I personally would prefer to wait and see that GDP progression comes through, but that's because I'm fairly risk averse. On the other hand, if you prefer it investing on expectation rather than reality, then I can understand why people have been buying such stocks.
Mm. One of the key questions regarding the European market going forward is the growth in earnings. Do you think there are some reassuring news there?
Certainly, by this time of year, normally we start to see, there's always a projection for earnings growth at the end of December. Analysts are always looking for some earnings growth. But typically within Europe, that starts to degrade within the first 1 or 2 months as analysts realise that actually that's not going to come through. What we've actually seen is an upgrade in those analyst expectations on the back of what they're being told by companies, on the back of results season that we've seen. So, touch wood, hopefully this year will be one of those years when Europe will actually progress in terms of profitability.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of how your portfolio is positioned right now, there are a lot of French names, for instance. Why is that?
Okay, well, as you know, I tend to be counter-cyclical in how I invest. So when other people don't like a particular area of the market, that's when I normally find the best opportunities. Europe has 3 elections coming up, one of which is in France. It's obviously making lots of headlines. You've started to see French yields move out and people are actually moving a little bit away from French stocks because of that political risk. Clearly for me, I think there are opportunities in the French market relative to others. I have a number of French financial institutions, whereas I don't have any Italian banks, German banks, because I think the French banks actually have come through 2008, 2009 better than the German banks and don't seem to have the bad debts that have been associated elsewhere. And then clearly within the pharmaceutical sector, I'm finding opportunities. So I'm quite like France at the moment. That wasn't the case 2 years ago, it is now.
Okay. Nick, thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
For Morningstar, I'm Sheridan. Thanks for watching.